Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and due to the popularity of the last skill rotation video, we're going to be doing another for the 5 most highly requested characters. I went through your lists, I looked at characters that names were repeated over and over again, and these 5 characters were the most requested: Mr. Fantastic, Thor, Doctor Strange, Rogue, and Cyclops. So we're going to be taking a look at these characters. We're going to be taking a look at them primarily with their uniforms, and also considering them at tier 2 versus tier 3, and also considering whether they have a CTP of rage or they have a regular CTP of energy destruction or regular damage proc. So let's jump into it with number 1, Thor. Now for starters, Thor is actually really hard to play with a regular damage proc obelisk or with a CTP of energy, just because his proc does drift a lot. But the basic rotation you want to do is 3. As soon as he slams down the staff or the Mjolnir or the Stormbreaker, as soon as he slams that down, you cancel that into 5. And 5 is what you want to proc on. It's got the most damage, it's got the longest animation. 5 is really his bread and butter. And of course, you want to pick up the endgame uniform, either the Bro Thor or the team suit. It doesn't really matter. But 5 cancel 3 is your main combo with a regular damage proc like lightning damage, whatever, or with a CTP of energy or with a CTP of destruction. Now the problem is that in the time between you slamming that down the Stormbreaker and pressing 5, it can proc by accident. So that is what really makes Thor difficult to play, and you definitely need to practice the timing, and you need to be aware of whether you're just attacking one enemy, which means there's a lower chance of it to proc, or if there are summons around, in the case of, you know, Corvus summoning his Outriders, or Ebony having those ghosts around him. That will increase the chances of the proc drifting and activating on the 3rd skill rather than the 5th skill. And remember guys, I don't want to do a full refresher and a full repeat of last video with the 5 or the top 6 skill rotation, so definitely check that one out if you're missing things like cancel and delayed cancel. But I'm just going to assume that you've already seen that video and that you know all of the terminology. So it's almost an immediate cancel. It's technically a delayed cancel, but it's almost an immediate cancel. Well, 5 wasn't up there, so I made that mistake. Of course, you have to pay attention to the skill cooldown, but it's almost an immediately cancel into 5. And then once you land from 5, make sure you land. You're going to go into 4. With 4, you have to wait for him to slam the Stormbreaker back. I'm going to show you the animation one more time. So you do 3 right into 5, and then you have to wait for 4. He's going to slam it back, and you're going to see that bubble. If you don't wait for that bubble, you don't get the huge boost. It's like 25% all attack, 25% crit rate, something like that. So you need to get that boost right there, the frenzy boost. So definitely after you land from 5, definitely do 4, and then boom, when he slams down, then you can do 1 and 2. Now as you saw there, 2 is not an iframe, 1 is an iframe. So that is it's either going to be 1-2 or 2-1, depending on whether you're safe or in danger. If you're safe, go to 2 first. There's no reason to waste your 1. But if you're about to get hit by something, or you're about to see a tornado come and try to snare you, hit the 1. And then either do the 2 or kite away. So that is the regular damage proc rotation for Thor. 3 cancel 5 proc, and then 4-1-2 or 4-2-1, and you repeat that. And then once you've built up the tier 3 skill with a regular obelisk, you're just going to do 3 cancel into 6, and you're going to try to proc on 6, and then you're going to skip 5. You skip 5 in this case with a regular proc, with a regular energy CTP or whatever. You're skipping 5 because you need it for the next rotation. So you're going to go 6, 4, 2, 1, and then when your next rotation is coming up, you go back, 3 cancel 5. If you do 3, 6, and then 5, and then 4, your next rotation is ruined. Because as you can see, the 5th skill has almost 8 seconds of cooldown, and if you did 6 at the beginning of your rotation, by the time you land, there's only like 3 seconds, 2 seconds left, because it's such a long animation of him jumping up and doing that Infinity War landing attack. So it's just not going to work. So you actually have to skip the 5th skill with a regular damage proc obelisk if you're incorporating the tier 3 skill. Now, if you have a CTP of Rage, it's a little bit different. With the CTP of Rage, you basically want to leave the 5th and 4th skills until you've already procced. So I have a CTP of Rage on my Thor, so I actually still open with 3 for the protection, but then I open into 1 and then 2, and then I go into 4 if I still haven't procced, and then I go into 5. From there, I kind of just spam. I spam 1, 2, and 3, hoping to crit, and then I always try to save 4 and 5 for when I'm ready to proc. When I'm ready to deal more damage after the rage proc has already activated. But I don't really try to aim to do the 6th skill on the proc, because the 6th skill, his ultimate skill, really doesn't have that much damage with a rage. It's a lot less than 4 and 5. So just prioritize 4 and 5 to be on the rage proc timing, and then just use 1, 2, and 3 to protect yourself with iframes and guard hit, and also to try and trigger your rage proc. Next up, we got Mr. Fantastic, and first of all, I'm going to show you how to do his proc really briefly without his uniform. It's actually quite a little bit different, so I do want to highlight that having an accumulation skill definitely does change your rotation for him if he does not have a uniform. So without a uniform, and assuming you don't have a rage proc, because why would you have a rage proc but no uniform? So assuming you don't have a rage CTP and assuming you don't have the uniform, you're actually going to open with 5 and just hope that you trigger your proc. And like Thor, there is of course the RNG of you not triggering your proc, which is a bummer. If you don't trigger your proc on 5, you can try to trigger it on 4, but if you do hopefully trigger it on 5, then you're just going to do 1 and 2. You squeeze 1 and 2 in at the end of 5 because there's immunity at the end of his 5th skill when he's done. So those skills don't have iframes or anything, so it's just pure protection. And then you're going to go into the 4th skill for the self buffs and the iframe. And then you finish it off with 3 and you position yourself to do 5 again on the proc, land, use the last couple seconds of the immunity for 1 and 2, then back into 4, then over into 3. Again, you can either dodge or you can hit with the 3rd skill. And then when the tier 3 skill is up, just pop it. Of course, wait for your proc to be over, meaning, you know, the timer runs out to 0, and then proc your tier 3 skill. You don't want to proc it, you know, with 1 second left on your regular damage proc. Assuming you have Mr. Fantastic's uniform at tier 2 or tier 3 with the uniform without a CTP of rage, you're still going to want to proc your damage proc on 5, but now instead of doing 1 and 2, you're actually going to do 3 first. You do 3 first because it has accumulation. So you have that accumulation, you can get hit, you do 1 and 2, it doesn't matter if you get hit, you're accumulating, then you do 4, and then you do back into 5 for your proc, and then when you land, you do 3, and then 1, and then 2. So there's actually very little skill canceling with Mr. Fantastic. You really just have to skill cancel at your discretion if you think you're going to get hit in terms of protection. 5 is an iframe with immunity, 4 is an iframe, and 3 has invincibility, but it's really a priority to use 3 and then use 1 and 2 because 3 has accumulation when you take damage. If you use 3 and then 5 or 3 and then 4, you're wasting that chance to accumulate because you're using an iframe skill. And then once you've built up his tier 3 skill, what you want to do, because it's also not an iframe, is you want to do 3, cancel into 6, and then you want to proc your tier 3 skill because you're accumulating while he's punching. Now, last but not least, if you have Mr. Fantastic with his uniform and you have a rage CTP, it's kind of like the inverse rotation. You're going to start off with 3, and then you're going to cancel into 1, and then you're going to go into 2 as long as you proc, and then once you proc, activate the CTP of rage, you do 5, and then you do 4, and then you can do 1 again, and then you can go back to 3, and then back into 2, and then back into 1, and then as soon as you proc, you go into 5, as soon as the rage activates, and then you can go right into 4, it doesn't matter, and then you just pop 3, and then you pop 6, and you will hopefully proc your rage CTP. If you're a little bit scared or if you're a little bit unlucky with the crits, you can always do 3, cancel into 1 and 2, and then when that, as soon as that activates, you can do the 6th skill to pop off with the rage bonus. Up next, we have Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is actually one of the simplest, but also one of the most challenging to do correctly skill rotations in Marvel Future Fight. The reason for that is the skill rotation is exactly the same whether you have him at tier 2 or tier 3. I don't recommend using Doctor Strange at tier 2 because he does very little damage, but you can practice his rotation at tier 2 and then it'll be exactly the same at tier 3, except you're going to be sliding in that tier 3 skill every 10 seconds. So that's the good thing. The bad thing is it takes a lot of skill canceling. Doctor Strange is the #1 champion for skill canceling. You have to get used to skill canceling. You have to have fast fingers. So this is the time to practice. And the best time is probably in Alliance Battle Extreme. And that's where I practiced back in the day when Doctor Strange was used for 2 different days of ABX. He was back in the day, you know, 3 years ago, Alliance Battle Extreme #1 for the no restriction day, for the free-for-all day was Doctor Strange. And then Doctor Strange was used again on the Blast Hero Day. It was an absolute shit show using Doctor Strange twice per week, every single week. So 2 out of 7 days every single week because there was only 1 week rotating over and over and over again. There was just way too much Doctor Strange in my life, but it did make me a better player and it made me super good at skill canceling this rotation. So you got to watch carefully. It's a lot of canceling. So we're going to pop his 5. That's the important skill here. You pop the 5 as soon as he goes up. As soon as he comes down, you cancel 4-3-2, 4-3-2, 4-3-2, 4-3-2, and then 4, and then 6. And then 6, you wait until you see the clones, and then you do 5, and then you do 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, and then 6. And that's the whole rotation. And the same rotation would be, the rotation would be the same if you didn't have his tier 3. You would just do 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, and then you would just do 5 again. And then you would do 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2. You can linger a little bit on 2, but 4 and 3 are almost instant cancels. I would say in terms of the speed in which you cancel, I think 4 gets canceled the fastest. Or sorry, 3 gets canceled the fastest, 4 gets canceled the second fastest, and then 2 gets canceled the slowest. But I want to just show you guys one more time because it is easy. It's 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 6, 5. But it's hard. It's hard in the sense that you have to cancel them very quickly. And if you're not, let's put it this way. If you're not canceling fast enough, you won't be able to build up your tier 3 skill fast enough. And then if you don't build up your tier 3 skill fast enough, you'll get snared, you'll get interrupted, Cull Obsidian will hit you, or whatever the boss is will hit you, the tornadoes will hit you. If you're getting interrupted before the tier 3 skill is ready, you're not canceling fast enough. If you can't cancel as fast as I can, you're not canceling fast enough. So maybe right now, don't pay attention to me and what I'm saying, but pay attention to the timer and see how long it takes me to get the tier 3 skill ready. And then you can just judge that for yourself. If you don't have that ready in 9 or 10 seconds, you're too slow. So you just have to get used to it. It really just takes practice. And I'm double, triple tapping the keys. You can almost see my fingers when I play. I'll show you guys one more time here. You can kind of zoom in if you want. But I'm tapping, tapping, tapping. I don't really need to tap 2 and 3, but I tap 4 multiple times because I'm waiting for 4 to come off cooldown during 2. You should be able to cancel fast enough that 4 is still on cooldown when you've pressed 2. So that's why I'm sort of hammering down the 4th skill, waiting for it to be ready so I can cast it as soon as possible. It's very challenging to master, but it's simple in the sense that it's just that combo of 3 that really needs to be done. And then it's important to just realize when to cancel 6. You cancel 6 once you see the clones. You don't cancel the clones earlier than that. And you also don't press 5 before 6. I've seen some people do this where they think my tier 3 skill is up. I'm gonna press 5 first to get the buff. Don't you ever do that. Don't ever press 5 before 6. Never, ever, ever do that. So you press 6. As soon as the clones come out, you press 5. You never go 5 before 6. 5 after 6, and that's all you need to do. And then, of course, turn the SFX off. If you can't see that screen like this because the SFX are on, you're going to have a bad time. Fourth up on the list, we have Rogue, the only female from this list of 5. For Rogue, I'm going to assume you have her uniform already, and she's also the only non-tier 3 on this list, so we're just going to go through it. But yeah, definitely pick up Rogue's uniform. If you don't have her uniform, this rotation's not going to make sense, but if you don't have her uniform, she's garbage. So this pretty much that's it. With a regular damage proc obelisk, you're just going to want to pop 5 and proc on 5. If you don't proc on 5, don't cancel it. Go right into 4 and see Bobby Drake, and hopefully you will proc on 4. There with my rage proc, I didn't crit, so I didn't actually proc on anything, but you should proc on either 5 or 4. One of those skills should proc. And then from there, you just want to do 3 for the delayed iframe, and then 2 for the heal, and then 1. So it's really, really simple. It's actually just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's very, very simple with a regular damage proc. If you're not procking on 5 and you're not procking on 4, most of the time, that's very, very weird. You should be procking on 5 or 4 with a regular proc or a destruction or a CTP of energy. You could do the rage proc rotation that I'm about to show you if you're having extreme bad luck procking on rogues 5 or 4. But honestly, you shouldn't be having that much trouble. It's a 10%, it's a flat 10% chance. I'm shocked that I didn't proc there with my 5 and 4, but that's a rage proc, and my luck is garbage. So anyways, with a rage proc with Rogue, you actually open with 3, and then you cancel into 5 when those hits are sort of raining down, and then you go into 4, and then you go into 2, and then into 1, and that's really the 7 seconds. Then you pop back into 3. When those fists are raining down, you cancel into 5, and then I'm really not critting at all, wow. And then you go into 4, and then you go into 2, and then you go into 1, and then you go back into 3. The really nice thing about Rogue is that because of her tier 2 passive, that's the same as Captain Marvel's, you have a 7-second proc. So it's especially good for a CTP of Rage. But the other good thing about her is that you don't really need to cancel. She's a character where you can just sort of go through all of the skills one at a time. Really, only 3 is the skill that you cancel. You don't need to cancel. You don't want to cancel 5. You don't want to cancel 4. The damage is all there, the protection is there, or the immunity is there, or the healing is there, or the iframes are there. She really has everything. So just going through the rotation smoothly, it's either 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or in a rage proc's case, it's 3 with a bit of a cancel, but you almost don't have to cancel 3. You could almost do 3, 5, 4, 2, 1, or 3, 5, 4, 1, 2. So it's very, very easy to proc. Very, very nice, smooth rotation. At number 5, we have Cyclops, and like Rogue, for Cyclops, I'm going to assume that you have his newest Phoenix 5 uniform. If not, he's going to severely underperform. Now, if you don't have a CTP of Rage, the proc, I believe, for Cyclops is just to proc on 5. You cast 5 and you hope that you proc. The thing with Cyclops is you don't really cancel a lot of his skills, and you can't really cancel his skills because once you cancel them, the effect goes away. He doesn't have any lingering effects, so you can't really afford to cancel skills and try to set up your 5th skill. If you do that, you might accidentally proc on one of those skills. So you basically just have to press 5 and hope that you proc with a regular obelisk. So after you've procced on 5, we're going to sort of restart from there. But after you proc on 5 with Cyclops, you've given yourself the immunity. You're going to go into 4. Now 4, he moves in a square around the enemy. It's, well, square, circle, whatever. He moves around the enemy. You can cancel 4 if you want to reposition behind or whatever. Like, let's say Cull Obsidian's about to do that purple skill where he like slams the ground and it penetrates. You can reposition yourself and cancel 4 when you're behind Cull Obsidian, because if you don't cancel the skill, he ends up back at square 1. It's a 360-degree rotation, so you don't want to start the skill and see, hey, he's about to penetrate my iframe and kill me, and then you rotate back all the way and you're like, hey, I'm back, and then you get smoked by the skill. So that's obviously, of course, up to the player, but if there's no immediate danger, there's no need to cancel 4. You'll still have, like you can see there, my 4th skill just finished and I still have 2 seconds on my immunity, so you'll still have enough time. Once you've done 4, hopefully you should have procced already. Then you can move into 3. You don't have to cancel 3. You can sort of watch that one play out. Then 2, hit the laser, and then into 5. If you are behind, you can cancel the 2 skill and then go right back into 5. But you don't want to avoid pressing 2 because you want to build up your tier 3 skill. So one more time, if you have a regular damage proc obelisk, like a fire damage proc or a CTP of energy or something like that, you proc on 5, then you go into 4, then you go into 3, and then if you want to cancel that after the second one, you go into 2, and then you can cancel 2 into 5 again. Once you're ready for your tier 3 skill, you're just going to, if you're building it up normally, I have mine built up, but normally you'd be at about 90% right now. You're going to press 3 and instantly cancel into 6, excuse me, to get your proc. Now the rage proc for Cyclops is a little bit different, so I'm going to go through it here. You're still going to open up with 5 for the most part. Whether you proc or not, you're going to go into 4, then you're going to go into 2, then you're going to go into 3, and it doesn't matter if 3 triggers your rage again. You're going to go back into 2, and then you're going to go back into 5. I got guard broken there, and then you're going to go into 4. I got guard broken again, and then 2, and then 3, and then you're going to pop the 6. This is the fastest rotation available to build up your tier 3 skill. It's kind of similar to Captain Marvel's rotation, where you're doing 2 in between other skills, so you're just splashing in a lot of 2. So one more time here, if I'm ready with my rage proc unactivated, I pop 5, I proc hopefully, then we go into 4, then we go into 2, you let 2 play out, then you let 3 play out pretty much to the end, then you pop 2 again, then you pop 5 again, then you pop 4 again, no canceling, then you pop 2, then you pop 3, and then you pop 6. And this is the same rotation that you can use for Alliance Battle Extreme, so it works in both cases. Builds up your tier 3 the fastest, and it's the optimal amount of damage because you're not canceling anything, and you're still protected from the immunity on 5, guard on 2, and the long iframe on 3. So there you have it, the next 5 most popular skill rotation characters as voted by you in the community. Now all I have to ask you is, who do you want to see next? Who are the next 5 characters to be covered after the 11 that we've already covered, starting with Sharon Rogers and now ending with another tier 3 blast, Cyclops? Hit me up in the comments down below. Thank you so much for participating, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.